Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Donnie, the season is 6 months. 5 if you check out in September. You're gonna have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month, that is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're gonna win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
College football can't allow Notre Dame to have the type of, year they have and schedule they have, and honestly put them up against other teams. Because Notre Dame looks like they're going to be a decent football team. They could lose, I think, next week to Texas A&M, Joe, who I don't think is a great football team, but still a ranked team, and then run the table and still be in the playoff and absolutely beat nobody. The worst schedule they've ever seen in college football is Notre Dame this year.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
It's time to rise and grind. It's the early line right here on a Thursday morning on the Sports Grid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranier. Over the next 2 hours, we got you covered on all the hottest topics across the sports landscape. And yes, the NFL is back in our lives this evening with a really good matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers. But today, Joe Ranieri, it is September 11th. And 24 years ago, one of the biggest tragedies we've ever witnessed on American soil. I was in college at that time, and I remember it fondly, where looking out over the horizon from my campus, Joe, I could see the Twin Towers on a day-to-day basis. And we'll never forget those first responders here. So I thought it was appropriate to start the show and give those proper respects that even though years go by, we never forget what a monumental that day was, but also in tragedy, how much we fight as a country to come together. And I always remember that day on September 11th, strengthening the nation's resolve at this point, and all those tragedies that happened and the people that lost their lives, we'll never forget them, Joe.
Yeah, no, Donnie, it's well said. It's one of those days that that will live in infamy. My parents' generation remember where they were when President Kennedy was shot, and I've heard that. And our generation's going to remember where they were exactly that moment that we learned about the Twin Towers. So it's definitely, it seems like yesterday, 24 years ago. It's kind of crazy, Donnie, because I can remember it like it was yesterday.
All those first responders, the police, the fire department, when everybody was running away scared, they actually ran to the buildings there and tried to help out here. It's one of those days, again, as Joe points out, we will always remember this day, but also remember those first responders and those heroes that tried to get people to safety, even though it meant them losing their lives. So today we always remember 9/11. But we are a sports program here. We are a sports network. And yes, the world goes on, everything moves, and it's time to get to some sports here, maybe lighten the situation. You can have some fun over the next 2 hours with us. As I said, it's Donnie and Joe. We're here. Let's go. Let's get after it. And the hottest topics across the sports landscape in the 7 and 7. Joe, I want to ask you this question, though. Not on, Xavier Worthy just coming up. We'll talk about that in a second. Did you see the NBA yesterday finally corrected a rule which is always maddening to me over the past 20 years? Did you ever watch a play in an NBA game outside like the last play of the game, where 3, 2, 1, nobody wanted to shoot the ball, or the mimic of, let me wait till I hear the horn and it sounds, then I'll shoot it to make it look like I actually wanted to attempt a full court shot? Because heaven forbid I go 2 for 6, instead go 2 for 7 because I tried to help my team score buckets. The NBA goes, it's going to count against the team, but not against the player. How selfish are NBA players, Joe?
Unbelievable, is it not here, Donnie? And why are we even having to address this is amazing. Yeah. But, this is welcome to the NBA in 2025, Donnie. Unreal.
Amazing stuff. Exactly. Let's get to the 7 and 7 and have some fun with this, too. The Chiefs' Travis Kelce says he's the blame for Xavier Worthy's injury. Basically hit him like a Mack truck. Now, also, it doesn't look like Worthy is going to go on the short-term IR at all. Hopefully back sooner than later. Will wear a harness, but that's a devastating blow. Friendly fire, Joe, caused here this injury.
Yeah, kind of crazy, Donnie. We've been laughing about it. And Kelce at least admitted, this is my fault. I got to be better here. But, silver lining, if you're not without Worthy for half the season, then that's some good news here. And they are hoping to have him back in the lineup sooner rather than later. It was a dislocated shoulder, by the way, and it looked much worse than that. I mean, that's like running into a Mack truck if you are the size of Xavier Worthy running into a Travis Kelce and both running at full speed, no less. So let's just hope he's back sooner rather than later for the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Ray Lewis in the middle. Like, just give me that harness. I'll go out there. I'm tough. This is a wide receiver, not, built with a ton of stature out here. And if anybody trusts how tough, imagine being a player and you get hit on every play you catch the football and you hope it's not your shoulder. Oh, my goodness. That pain has to be immense here. But hopefully he'll be back sooner than later to help out the Chiefs, who take on the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend. 49ers Brock Purdy, long shot to play in week number 2. Heroic comeback, unbelievable final drive. But he might be down for a couple weeks, and it looks like he's a long shot just to play this weekend, Joe.
Apparently, it's toe and left shoulder injuries. That is not good news for the 49ers, who also lost tight end George Kittle on injured reserve here with the hamstring issue. We still don't have Brandon Ayuk. We still have some injuries in that wide receiver room. So, not great news for the 49ers, but can they keep Christian McCaffrey healthy enough to weather this storm to help them with, again, Donnie, the easiest schedule in the NFL this season?
Remember when Brock Purdy got hurt in that NFC Championship game against the Eagles? It was basically Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback on some plays. Maybe go to the Wildcat, and maybe that's all you need to beat the New Orleans Saints. We'll certainly find out this weekend here. Nobody likes to hear these words. Hey, buddy, you're under investigation. That's Tyreek Hill, accused of domestic violence by his estranged wife. The NFL is going to open up that book, and let's see how deep they can go into it.
Yeah, right. So this is official. I am, if this man sees the field the rest of the season, Donnie, I am fading every prop I possibly can on Tyreek Hill. There will be absolutely zero money going towards, Tyreek's going to light him up. They're going to, what do you have, one catch in the first game against Indy and we didn't know about any of this? It's not going to get any better in Miami for Tyreek Hill or this team. So he is a absolute fade for me moving forward.
By the way, if you understand how the NFL works, you can do pretty much anything you want as long as you're a talented player. Don't you know where he's about to go under investigation? Football teams are still picking up the phone and making offers to the Miami Dolphins to see what it's going to take to get Tyreek Hill on their football team. Be good at sports, people. You can get around a lot of stuff everyday people cannot get away with at this time. How about Paul Skeens getting away with everything, which includes 200 strikeouts? He will be your NL Cy Young Award winner. And now the Pirates doing the smart thing. We're in mid-September. Hey, kid, how about 60 or so pitches, then you're done?
Yeah, 5 innings it took him to strike out 8, get the 200, and then that was it. Also, it only took him 5 innings, which is all I needed him for in our best bet yesterday, Donnie, to get that first 5 under 3.5. Like I've been telling everyone, that is usually the way to low. And, I think the Orioles ended up taking advantage of him getting eventually out of that game.
By the way, was your best bet yesterday the under in the first 5, which won, or was it Baltimore getting a run and a half for the game itself? Because either way you went, you actually won it because Baltimore did end up winning that game right. And also understand this. Also hit that Marlins game yesterday. Me and Joe Ranieri, 2-0 best bets, buy section, end of the show. You know we got some more of that action loaded for you. But how about the Texas Rangers? What's going on here? 77-7 on the season, handling the best team in the majors here, trying to make a playoff run. Is it too little too late for the Rangers? Not yet. They handled the Brewers again last night, 6-3.
Berger coming up big for the Rangers. And, it's been an up and down season for him. And a lot of those guys on the lineup, but could Man, this feels a lot like the Rangers from a few years ago, Donnie, that made a run right through and ends up winning a World Series. They got hot at the end. There were questions as far as whether or not they were going to be able to get into the postseason to begin with. And once they did, man, they are rolling. You sweep 3 from the best team in the National League in the Milwaukee Brewers. That's pretty impressive.
Opens up a door for the Phillies. Maybe they can look at that number 1 overall seed. And talking about the Philadelphia Phillies, they handled the Mets again last night. Put 2 starters on the IL. Zach Wheeler down for the season. No big deal. 3 straight wins for the Phillies over the Mets to open a 10-game lead in the NL East.
Yeah, and then, unsung hero, right? So you got Bryce Harper kicking it, but how about Max Kepler getting it done for the Phillies last night?
Oh, boy, those Tigers hammering the Yankees in the Bronx. I think there might be a chance the Yankees can come back and get some base knocks today because it hasn't looked good over the past 2 days as they also try to fight for the playoffs here. But we got big news today, and that deals in the NFL. Big NFC battle tonight at Lambeau Field. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside, we got you covered. Let's start the handicapping right after the break.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from 2 teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, I'm not. Listen, we thank them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards. You know,
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Are you ready for some football on a Thursday night? You better be. Why? Boy, oh boy, we're going to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And no, it's not going to be November, December. It's freezing temperatures. We're actually getting some decent weather here and a great game because this game could determine possibly home field advantage for these 2 ball clubs later in the season. It's the Washington Commanders and it's the Green Bay Packers. Jaden Daniels versus Jordan Love, 8:15 tonight from Lambeau. If we look at the opening line, Joe, -3.5. We look now. Some outlets still showing 3.5, but DraftKings, Bet365, some outlets here in Vegas, -3 points now creeping into the sports landscape. A total, which was 48.5, still sitting at 48.5 at most outlets. Some places like BetMGM have moved it to a 47.5. Let's start here with the handicap. It is game day, so I want to ask you this one question. There's 3.5s and 3s in the marketplace. Where do we wind up with the spread tonight, Joe?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get 3 again, Donnie. That's where it started, and it was bet up to 3.5. The only question is how disgusted was the public with what they saw from Detroit in week 1 there? Do they think that Detroit is terrible, or do they think the Packers are absolutely no joke here? And if they think the Packers are no joke, they're going to run to the window and they're going to bet the Packers. Short week, and we talked about it here. I don't like the fact that Washington started off the year against the Giants and committed 12 penalties. It wasn't as if they were crisp or did not look like they were in October form. Green Bay, however, against that Detroit defense, which I think is better than what the Commanders are bringing to the table, they look like they had been playing since September, and we were in the middle of October here. So I think it's all Green Bay here tonight. Short week, no way on these spots, especially early on, do I want anything to do with a road team going someplace like Lambeau and pulling off the upset. So I think it's a little chalky here tonight. I would, however, look at the total, though. I think maybe the value lies in that spot.
Yeah, we look at both of these football teams and certainly high expectations on the season. The Packers made the playoffs last year, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. The Washington Commanders made the playoffs, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. That game was in the NFC Championship game. Both of these teams coming in relatively healthy for this one. We are going to take a look in just a few moments at Micah Parsons, but before we get there, the quarterback battle. Jordan Love, good quarterback. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. We look at their price points here on their player props. Passing yards, 227.5 for Jordan Love. Jaden Daniels at 225.5. And the passing touchdowns, of course, both listed over 1.5. But the juice is a little bit different. Jordan Love at a -112 price and Jaden Daniels at a +122 price. I think we get good performances, Joe, tonight out of both of these quarterbacks.
I do, but I also think Green Bay is going to spend a lot of time hammering between the tackles, and they're going to be running the ball as best as possible. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be the key for Green Bay. I think they're going to take advantage and get the rushing. Now, listen, the Giants couldn't do that because they were playing from behind the entire time. Not that they would have been able to do it anyway. But the reality is here, we didn't see a lot of him last week because early on it was the Jordan Love show. I mean, he was completing passes to 9 different guys. He was all over the place. But I think tonight, especially on a short week, we're going to get a lot more power running from the Green Bay Packers and ball control, if anything, here.
Yeah, you take a look, too, because it is a Thursday night game, and it is a major travel disadvantage for the Washington Commanders. But sometimes, Joe, you can handle it a little bit easier, right? Second week of the season, as opposed to week 14 when you're banged up and you got to get on a plane, you got short rest, you can barely get out of bed until Tuesday morning, and oh, no, it's Thursday night. I got a national game underway. So that's something to keep an eye on. But some of the fun prop markets that we love to look at, just like with the quarterbacks, is the touchdown market. You're not getting any cheapies here on Josh Jacobs, a -195 price. But what goes along with that is, when you get to the goal line, he is your go-to guy. Like, oh, no, somebody's going to steal his carries at this point. That's not happening. That's why that price is appropriately priced at around a -200. Terry McLaurin, +155. Jaden Daniels, +175. Debo, +175. If we're going the running back route for me, of course, it's probably going to be Josh Jacobs. You can throw him into a parlay. But I always like when I take a look at, like, star wide receivers, Debo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, both at plus money numbers. If we're expecting a game, Joe, close to 50 points, you figure that we're getting 1 to 2 touchdown passes out of Daniels, and it's probably going to go to one of those 2 better wide receivers.
Yeah, and I think Kingsbury is going to make an effort tonight to get McLaurin way more involved in this game. I think that there's going to be a lot more designs to try to put the ball in his hand. I would not be shocked if Debo gets a ton of looks and opportunities. I think his reception prop was 4.5. But, I mean, how do you not like it? It's easy money. Yes, it's pricey. But when you look at the fact that Josh Jacobs has now scored a touchdown in 10 consecutive games for the Packers, that is a franchise record, by the way, that he already broke when he punched in for the 9th straight game. Yes, it's chalky, Donnie, but if they're inside the 5-yard line, guess what? Guess who's getting the ball for the Green Bay Packers here? Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
I always like to say, Joe, like on the touchdown props, like we saw even in week number 1 on Thursday Night Football with the Philadelphia Eagles, like, don't you dare take Jalen Hurts. Don't you dare take Saquon Barkley. We're going to price them out where you don't want to take them. What happened? 2 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts and 1 touchdown for Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like. I'm not paying that price. And then you sit down, watch the game, crack open a beer on the first drive, first and goal at the 1. You go, I knew this was going to happen. And you just got to sit back and watch it happen at that point here. But if we are talking about other competitors here, Micah Parsons. Hey, Washington Commanders game with the Packers. He's unfamiliar. No, he's not unfamiliar with them. He's played them tons of times being an outside pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys. Take a look at some of those statistics going up here against the Commanders for Micah Parsons. 10.5 sacks against them, 15 quarterback hits, and 29 pressures. But here's the key, Joe. He struggled with back issues. That's not a full work week. It's like, hey, you know what? I played Sunday. I get to play next Sunday. You play Thursday. So even more limited for Micah? Or do we expect a big impact tonight from Micah Parsons?
Oh, I think you'll see him. We did see him sparingly in that first game against Detroit, but when we did see him, guess what, Donnie? He was effective and caused a turnover, got to Goff, was in his face. That's what he does. I think they will use him early on in the season in spots, especially 3rd and longs, those types of things where Jaden Daniels could very well be under duress. So I think he will have an impact on this game. Won't take it over, but he'll have an impact.
No doubt about it. He's out there. You have to account for him. That's having an impact. Like you can say, like, hey, let's be a decoy guy. You still got to be like, okay, running back, make sure you chip this guy and be your best offensive tackle. Make sure you handle him. And then somebody else is going to rush in there and get a sack. Big time NFL game tonight. We're going to continue handicapping it next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Washington Commanders, Green Bay Packers tonight, live 8:15 p.m. Eastern from one of the most historic places you can play in the National Football Field, Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra. Not really going to be frozen tonight, and that's okay. We should get a clean slate here. We should get some decent weather conditions, but also, Joe, I want to bring up these type of games. You saw it last year to open the season in Brazil. Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers. Why is that game? Oh, it's early in the season. You can recover. Sure you can. But these two teams don't play twice in a season. These two teams play in the NFC. If these two teams are tied at the end of the year, you know who gets home field advantage? The winner of this football game. So it's a high-stakes game in week number 2. Both of these teams being 1-0 can certainly put a leg up in the NFC with a victory tonight. We looked at the spread there, -3.5s and -3s. Total, 48.5s, 47.5s across that sports landscape. But we always love it, Joe. The prop bets are a lot of fun to go after. We talked about some of the passing props. Let's look at the wide receivers tonight. Because you're not getting, hey, look, Justin Jefferson, 90 yards. A.J. Brown, 88.5 yards. The high man on the totem pole tonight, it's Terry McLaurin, 55.5 yards. Jaden Reed, 38 yards. Deebo Samuel, 54.5 yards. You get a mixed bag here with a lot of value on the Green Bay side. So if we're looking at wide receivers tonight from your eye point, Joe, where are you going?
Yeah, I think McLaurin is at the top for a reason there. I think that without a doubt, they're going to try to get him more involved in the game plan. They didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot or show a whole heck of a lot against the Giants, right, Donnie? Because they had that game pretty much in hand. They knew defensively they were good to go. They weren't going to empty the playbook there on the Giants. But I do think McLaurin, he needs to get involved. And I do think that Deebo Samuel will have some opportunities this week as well. So I think, in fact, he might have more of an opportunity to impact this game than what McLaurin is, because if I'm Green Bay, anybody but McLaurin is going to beat me, right? I'm not letting Terry McLaurin open the game up and beat me with 12 catches, for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I do think Deebo, a lot of dink and dunk maybe, and is going to be that safety valve. And I think his over receptions at 4.5 is a good deal. Yeah. And I also like Deebo to get into the end zone for Washington tonight.
Yeah, you like to see those numbers too, Joe, because why? We don't have a 37.5. It's a 48.5 here. We're expecting points on the board here, which means that you're probably going to have to use the passing game primarily to do that, and a lot of cheap numbers on both sides to watch out for. But let's flip it over to the running back side. We're not going to worry about who the bell cow in the backfield is for the Green Bay Packers. It's Josh Jacobs. He's listed at 76.5 as a prop. We're probably figuring on him, Joe, right? 15 to 20 touches in this game as a running back, not including catching the ball. So it should be there. And if they are favorites, maybe it's an extra couple carries in the fourth quarter to secure that. But I want to look on the opposite side, the Washington Commanders, because you look at our guy named Bill, that's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and you say to yourself, all right, 40.5 rushing yards. It looks more and more from when you read the tea leaves in Washington, they want this guy to be that lead dog back there. How do we approach the running back position tonight in this game between the Commanders and the Packers?
Well, you mentioned, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt there. What a debut, though, right? Now, we figured out why it was they were willing to move on from Brian Robinson. Well, 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown last week tells you why. And I think if it ain't broke, they're not going to fix it here. I think it's important that they try to establish the run. I don't think it's a great idea, especially with Parsons hanging around. And you mentioned the history there. He sacked, Daniels 4.5 times in 2 games last year. So I don't know if they can have any success running the ball and keep this game close. I think he's a pretty good bet to get up and over the yardage and the carries again.
I love Jaden Daniels. I really do. I think he's a great performer. But sometimes when you look at a game, you say, how can I fit him in here and make some money? Whether it's on his arm or throwing touchdown passes, sure, he can do that. Game number 1 against the Giants. 11 carries, 68 yards. And I say, wow, that's important. The Giants have a really good pass rush. You escape the pocket, you can get away. There are some lanes to rush in. Same thing with the Green Bay Packers. When you're early in the season, in a game this big, sometimes the quarterback's going to take it into his own hands. I do have expectations that Jaden Daniels, he can eclipse 50 yards rushing, Joe, which would hit that 46.5 number to the over.
Yeah, like that as I like that as well here. I mean, he is going to be the good thing about him, right? Both these quarterbacks, in fact, keep an eye on here tonight because they might have to use their legs more often than not. And that includes also Jordan Love, who I think his rushing prop, 5.5 yards.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one as well there, Donnie.
I can hear right now from one Joe to another talking about Joe Lisi. Jordan Love, 5.5. Ultim the 25.5 and get that big payday out here, people. Let's talk more hot topics in the NFL, which includes the Chiefs. What's next? We'll be right back.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Joe, we're only 1 week into the season. Injuries already creeping up. I mean, heck, they started in training. They started in preseason football, and away we go into week number 2. But some of these teams can't afford these injuries. The one positive for the Kansas City Chiefs coming into the season is like, okay, now look, you made it to the Super Bowl. You had a good season. You couldn't handle the Eagles. We're lacking a little bit of pop at the wide receiver position. Oh, look at this. We got another wide receiver coming back into the fold, and that's Rashee Rice, and let's see what we can do. Now you don't have Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, but the question is, how sooner than later is Xavier Worthy coming back into that Chiefs lineup? Field Yates put out a tweet yesterday. No surgery and no IR, which we at a minimum of 4 games missed for Xavier Worthy suggests a return in the near future could take place, which means they need him back, yes, sooner than later. They didn't even want to say, hey, you can be fully healthy in 4 weeks. We might need you back in 2 weeks because if we go 0-2, as we say, there is no tomorrow, Joe. They need him back, but he's not going to play this week. But maybe they dodged the bullet where it's not 8 weeks on the injury.
Well, that would be a huge bullet to have dodged because, again, we know what Rice is gone for a bit of time here during the start of the season. They've already started 0-1, lost that game to the Chargers in Brazil, and then he went out on a couple of plays into that game. And then all of a sudden it was just Hollywood Brown who had 25. He kept going. What do you have? Like 10 catches, 12 attempts. All he had left was Hollywood Brown, which, by the way, not a bad look here as far as the prop betting market goes, because who else is Patrick Mahomes? Who else is he throwing the ball to? I mean, 10 passes, 99 yards, 10 catches, 99 for Hollywood Brown. Last game, I can only see that increasing until Worthy gets back.
And how about this? Travis Kelce had to come out and say he takes full responsibility for his collision with Xavier Worthy. And, of course, he should at that point because Worthy didn't see it coming. And Kelce looked like he just basically ran a pick play on his own player. And now you come away with that injury, and that hurts. And, by the way, like if you were, had some Xavier Worthy props in that game to get 3 plays out of the guy, my goodness, Travis, did you have him? You were playing him on a fantasy opponent where he's on the other team, friendly fire at that point. Tough that it happens, but it is football. Collisions are going to happen. You just hope those collisions aren't with your own football team, and those collisions don't knock players out for multiple weeks at a time. But the Chiefs and the Eagles going to tee it up this Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, 90-degree temperatures at Arrowhead.
Honestly.
Should be fun. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick. Do you think there might be some free Taylor Swift tickets in the locker of Worthy sometime soon? As maybe a little. I'm sorry, didn't mean to run you over like that. Here's a couple of front rows to Taylor. Or you think Xavier's like, nah, I'm good, man. Thanks though.
Yep, he's angry at Travis, probably playing into the facility today, and we are never, ever, ever getting back together. They got to imagine imagine your teammate knocks you out for 4 weeks. You could say like, hey man, Ed Reed hit me so damn hard he separated my shoulder, but that's football. That's not football, Joe. It's not football.
No. And couple of tickets to see Taylor Swift is not going to make me feel any better about it either. So just like giving you a heads up there. 13 years in a league, my man, running over your own player, and an important player at that is probably, maybe we are at the end for Mr. Kelsey here. What do you think?
Exactly. Like, what do you give this Xavier Ware? Like, look, maybe you can't give a cash compensation because it's against some sort of like NLPA rule at this point here. Give him 4 front row tickets to our next show and say, hey, buddy, you don't have to go. Put those bad boys on eBay. That should settle a couple G's for you there, make you feel a little bit better. That's how you get down. I'll tell you who's not getting down right now. That's Tyreek Hill right now. Never good. Then the NFL opens up an investigation because your name is being smeared across social media because your now ex-wife says, yeah, allegedly, you beat me 8 different occasions here. Now, understand this about the NFL. They're not the FBI. They're not the police department. They are not judge and jury in the fashion that we think day to day. But they can act. If you don't get convicted, they don't care. They can still suspend you, Joe. And that's a key component here.
Well, it doesn't make a difference, right? Whether prosecution happens, doesn't. This is completely different. And we've seen it on a number of situations over the years. They don't care what the outcome of any sort of court or law enforcement investigation. No. If it makes the NFL look bad, if they think where there is smoke, there is fire, they are going to protect the shield, which means we may not. Listen, we're not seeing Tyreek Hill a lot this year anyway, Donnie. Who are we kidding with the Miami Dolphins? So maybe it's just best that he go away for a little while.
And by the way, look, nobody feels sorry for head coaches in the NFL. Once they become a head coach, they are paid for life. And yes, you have to put up with a lot here. Number one, the scrutiny of your organization and your city that you play in, or coach in, I should say. If you're not winning, you'll probably be getting fired. You got to hear it on a day-to-day basis. You probably can't go out to dinner and relax because people are always upset. But also at the same time, you want to coach the football team. And instead, he's going to go to the podium every single day and be like, hey, the press, can we ask you again about Tyreek Hill and what you're hearing from the NFL? And Mike McDaniel's going to have to answer that every single time. Less distractions is good in football, not more. And the Dolphins look like they have more distractions now, Joe.
They do. Not to mention, there's an issue now with Darren Waller, who they brought back in, right?
Oh, that was a great move.
Yeah.
Great move.
And now all of a sudden he's making comments that they're like, well, at some point we're going to have to do what's best for the team. So what are you telling me? He's never going to play for the Dolphins? Like, what? You got to be kidding me here. So, yeah, not great in Miami all the way around.
By the way, Waller was always injured, could never catch to save his life. Yes, he is fast, retires to be a rapper. You never hear from him. And only the Miami Dolphins are like, it's a good move, Joe. Let's make a trade for Darren Waller. That'll help this organization and this locker room out. Like, you take a look at like Chris Greer and McDowell. Are they just saying, you know what? Just pay me, Mr. Owner. I want to get out of town. I'm going to make every stupid decision I can make so we all get fired and have compensation with a golden parachute. That's all I can think about.
6th-round pick to the Giants for the rights to a guy that really was injured, retired, like you said, music career. Now, and by the way, any conditional 2027 7th-round pick. So congratulations. This dude apparently may never see the field, according to McDaniel, because he's got to, quote, at some point do what's best for the team, Donnie. You can't make it up, man. You can't.
Unbelievable. Imagine it was one of those nights where, like, the Minnesota Vikings were sitting behind the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles went Jalen Reagor, and they went Justin Jefferson. Like, what? What? We're doing what here at this point? Like, that's what the Giants, like, who never make any right decisions, go, man, we just found a pot of gold right here at this point. Just the way it is sometimes with organizations, and nothing is good right now in Miami. Allen Iverson said one time, practice? Yeah, practice. Deron Bland, foot injury, multiple weeks, 4-year, $92 million extension here. The Cowboys, man, Jerry Jones, what are you doing down there? This is tough.
Jerry, I just want to give you a clue here. Had you not given him that money, I promise you he'd be on the field for this game. I promise you he would have been motivated to play this game. Just saying, money like that, Nani, does very interesting things to injuries with guys.
And exactly, like, we're not saying in the NFL that guys technically would fake injuries, even though some people probably linger around. But understand this. If that is a 4-year, fully guaranteed $92 million contract, Bland's probably like, you know what? IR me for the season. Let me get right for next year because it doesn't matter. You can't now at that point. You get IR as soon as you come off, then Dallas Cowboys go, yeah, you know what? Restructure your contract. You're out of here. Take your guarantees. You're not getting the rest of it here. That's why the NFL can never have fully guaranteed contracts. Oh, look at the Cleveland Browns. How's that working out for you right now? Yeah, not so good at this point. How about Malik Neighbors? He's not happy in that offense, and why would you be? Russ can't get you the football. You're a wideout. Your team stinks with no future. And he says, it's not really Brian. Yes, just admit it, kid. We know it. You're frustrated with this team, and you should be.
Listen, I think the only saving grace there is that they do have a quarterback in that locker room, which guys like Neighbors and others are just waiting for. So it not all is hopeless. It's not like Danny Dimes is the backup, and they are like, what's the difference at this point? I think the future is bright. I think the guys on the offensive side in the Giants locker room, I think they're just buying enough time to be able to get a guy in there that they'll really rally around.
Yeah, when you're not scoring touchdowns on a week-to-week basis, skilled players, particularly wide receivers, they start to get upset about that. We'll see if they can correct that against the Dallas Cowboys this week, who are down Deron Brand. Maybe that helps there with Malik Neighbors at this point. We're going to flip it over to Major League Baseball next and get caught up on exactly what happened on the diamond yesterday.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
College football can't allow Notre Dame to have the type of, year they have and schedule they have, and honestly put them up against other teams. Because Notre Dame looks like they're going to be a decent football team. They could lose, I think, next week to Texas A&M, Joe, who I don't think is a great football team, but still a ranked team, and then run the table and still be in the playoff and absolutely beat nobody. The worst schedule they've ever seen in college football is Notre Dame this year.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Quarterback or coach has to answer for it.
Right.
Goff, Campbell. Listen, I'm not firing Dan Campbell already. I might be shipping Goff. I don't know, but I think the Lions. Again, it's week 1. Are we overreacting? I think the panic meter in Detroit is blaring. I think people are wondering, when do the Pistons start?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball, I'm surprised I'm awake this morning. I waited up so late last night, Joe, for the Mariners just to get 3 runs, and they tortured me all the way through. But you'll take the torture. You'll remember those times when you win those games. Today, I would be miserable with sandbags under my eyes if they did not win that game and cash a ticket for me. So sometimes you say, okay, what's going on in baseball? How can you have fun? As long as you're winning, everything handles itself. But then we get down to the wins and the losses for teams like the Brewers. They know they're going to the playoffs. They're still trying to fight off the Philadelphia Phillies for the top overall seed. But sometimes things don't make sense, like the Texas Rangers. Hey, take a few of your best players out of the lineup. Also knock down a couple of your best pitchers from the lineup here. You know what that equals? The death of a season. Not for the Rangers. 6-3 yesterday, easily dispatching once again the Milwaukee Brewers. They're 77-70. They have a heartbeat here. They think they can make the playoffs. This isn't supposed to be, Joe.
It was funny, Donnie. It was, 4 months ago before the All-Star break, I was talking here on the network saying, listen, I'm going to take a shot with the Rangers because I think once they can get everyone healthy and get back, we should be good to go. At that time, they were about 13-14-1 to be able to make a run. And that was to win the American League West. And then all of a sudden, everybody got hurt. They lost Evaldi. They lost Seager. You're going, this is just helpless. Now they've won 15 of the last 20. They're 7 games over 500 for the first time this season. And, winning is contagious. We saw Milwaukee do this, right, to really kind of distance themselves over after the All-Star break. And now we're watching the Rangers play themselves like the Giants, play themselves into a possible wild card spot, maybe even a possible American League West title. That's just bonkers to me.
It is crazy. And the AL West team and the Athletics, they ain't going to do any damage here. They're out of the playoffs, but they can still do some damage and ruin some teams' hopes for the postseason, which they did sort of yesterday. The Boston Red Sox, 81 wins on the season, trying to track down the Yankees and also the Toronto Blue Jays. Look at that final score. 5-4. They scored 9 runs. Hey, that was an over. No, it's not. When you play in Sacramento, it's typically double digits here as it was yesterday. Now, understand this. From a betting perspective, you get to the 9th inning and you get that miracle, right? Boom, 1 run in the top of the 9th to make it 4-4 against the Athletics and go, you know what's happening? Aroldis Chapman's going to come in this game. Base hits, getting on base, impossible. We're going to go to extra innings. We're going to tack on runs and cash that ticket. And wouldn't you know it, Aroldis Chapman comes in a non-save situation and gives up a couple hits and also gets walked off. But understand this, Joe. You say they got 9 runs. How about if I told you the Boston Red Sox, 2 of 16 with runners in scoring position? The Athletics, 2 of 13 with runners in scoring position. And Chapman can't close the door? That's a tough pill to swallow last night.
Well, a couple of things happened in that game. Number one, you're right. And Yankee fans will be like, Chapman, please. We used to watch him give up hits to the Red Sox all the time back in the... Yeah, no. He had gone 50 batters without giving up a hit. At 17 appearances, 50 batters, not one of them had gotten a hit off of him until that game last night. And the rookie, Kurtz, also hits a home run yesterday, and I believe now is one of only a couple of other Athletics to have hit 30 home runs as a rookie. And that's some pretty elite company, too, when you look at the names there on who he is now in the same breath with. I think the future is bright for this team. When you have an opportunity, I think, to showcase your talents in a minor league ballpark, take advantage of it. And he did this year.
No, certainly did. By the way, any which way Joe Ranieri went yesterday in that Baltimore Orioles game, he was right. Final in 10 innings, 2-1, the Orioles win. So if you had the Orioles on the run line, which means -1.5, you probably would have lost that game. But no, they were the dogs yesterday. So if you took them at the +1.5 that Joe recommended, you would have become a winner last night. And also, at the end of 5 innings, nobody was scoring any runs. And the handicap from Joe was basically like, okay, Skeens is good. We'll wait him out. Teams won't score a lot of runs, and Pittsburgh is terrible in offense, and they went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. You love it when a plan comes together, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the standing bet always with when Skeens pitches all season long has been first 5 under, even if it's 3.5, because you get a lot of what you just got yesterday. So that's always a bet. But then again, when you looked at it, Don, you were like, quietly, this Orioles team is really started to put it together. And I believe now, Donnie, in extra innings, as they walk it off at home in Camden, that's 4 now out of the last 5 games that they have walked off and won. That's absolutely crazy. 7 of their last 8, and 4 of them have been walk-off fashion.
I always talk about guys like Russell Westbrook. Like, give me the triple-double over the team win. That's all that matters. I love the New York Mets because they're getting pounded right now by the Phillies. Lost 11-3 last night. But Soto had a big night, 3 of 5. And if you notice the night before, late in that game when it was already decided, Soto decided to swipe third base to become one of those 30-30 guys. And the Mets put that out. And every single Mets fan that was on that Twitter feed last night was crushing the New York Mets. Boy, you look at Soto, big night, they lose. Soto's like, got my own private jet. Sometimes I don't even want to fly with this team. And as long as I'm getting mine, that's good. The Mets are tumbling. And now you look in the rearview mirror. The Giants and the Reds, they're laughing. They're right there.
Yeah, well, the Mets are their own worst enemy. But we had mentioned when this series started this week, Donnie had told you that magic number for the Phillies to lock up the East was 11. 3 games into this series, it's now 7. And they've got an opportunity to make it 5 at the end of tonight. So, so it could not have gone any better. But once again, the Mets hitting left-handed pitching, not happening. And, wouldn't you know it, Donnie, I think they might have to face another left-handed pitcher here tonight.
How about the Yankees here? Aaron Brun's like, everything is fine. It's cool. We got 80 wins on the season. Smoked again by the Tigers, 11-1 yesterday. Carlos Rodon, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. Hey, it's not my fault. What is up with the Yankees bullpen, Joe? Come on now. Stop.
Oh, all right, let's make this official on the early line. From this point on, the Yankees are only a first 5 bet. There is no way you are betting the Yankees in any way, shape, or form, full game, when you can't stop giving up runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. 8 runs between the 8th and 9th inning that bullpen gave up? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
By the way, Yankees fans, I do think he gets some base hits tonight and scores some runs. I'll give you that, but my goodness, terrible performances here. Let's talk some college football. We got some big games this weekend up next.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
College football can't allow Notre Dame to have the type of, year they have and schedule they have, and honestly put them up against other teams. Because Notre Dame looks like they're going to be a decent football team. They could lose, I think, next week to Texas A&M, Joe, who I don't think is a great football team, but still a ranked team, and then run the table and still be in the playoff and absolutely beat nobody. The worst schedule I may have ever seen in college football is Notre Dame this year.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Quarterback or coach has to answer for it.
Right.
Goff, Campbell. Listen, I'm not firing Dan Campbell already. I might be shipping Goff. I don't know, but I think the Lions. Again, it's week 1. Are we overreacting? I think the panic meter in Detroit is blaring. I think people are wondering, when do the Pistons start?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
And a fast-moving hour number one right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Yes, we talked a lot of NFL action. Just got done recapping some of the Major League Baseball highlights from last night. But we got some big Week 3 matchups in college football that we can watch, which includes the SEC. You got Georgia and Tennessee. How about the state of Florida in upheaval? The Miami Hurricanes in the top 5 now, taking on a top 20 ranked USF Bulls squad. Also Texas A&M and Notre Dame, Florida and LSU. We got some things to deal with this weekend, Joe.
We got a ton of things to deal with here. We didn't get a ton of big matchups last week in week 2 because we looked at the top 5 or 6 teams here in the poll, and yeah, they all had cupcakes, but not so much this week. We are back to some battles and some rivalries here. So including the one tonight with NC State and Wake Forest. So it's going to be a very tense week number 3 here in college football.
We are a handicapping network, Joe, so sometimes we like to take a look at those line movements, and let's start with Georgia and Tennessee live on the Rocky Top, 3:30 p.m., the SEC schedule. Love to see it this Saturday. 7.5 is that opening number. FanDuel showing 4.5. The rest of the outlets show 3.5s across the board. A total that started at 50.5 has now dipped to 49.5. Joe, explain to the people out there, why is this line moving in the direction towards Tennessee?
Well, because there's a lot of uncertainty with the offensive line of Georgia, who lost not 1, but 2 of the mainstays, it looks like, over the last couple of weeks. So that's why we've seen Georgia go from, a touchdown favorite here to now 3.5. And yeah, there's been a lot of big bets, a lot of sharp money coming in on Tennessee, pushing this thing down. Now, normally offensive linemen in college, yes, it's important, but is it going to move the line, Donnie? 3.5, 4 points? No, there is a big push and by the way, Georgia has dominated Tennessee over the last couple of years. This has been a one-sided rivalry. It's been all Georgia. But maybe, just maybe, with Aguilar at quarterback now, maybe, just maybe, Josh Heupel and company, could they get a win at home as a 3.5-point underdog? A lot of people think so.
Ian Maliah was out there watching, like, they better not get that win because I should still be there. They didn't want to pay me money. Yeah. Maybe it was the right choice there for Tennessee to say, you know what? You ain't worth that much money. Head up to UCLA. Yeah, what's UCLA doing? Absolutely nothing here. South Florida, Miami, Florida. That's the place to be here this weekend. A 4:30 start that sees the Miami Hurricanes open as a 15.5-point favorite over the Bulls. Now up to minus 17.5 in this game. The total from 53.5 up to 57.5. Last week you saw South Florida go into Gainesville and pick up a victory over the Florida Gators. Miami cruised with the easy victory over Bethune-Cookman, 45-3. Now these two teams play. 3rd straight week. South Florida is going to be playing a ranked opponent. Miami opened up against Notre Dame with that victory, cruise control last week. But also understand this, Joe. South Florida is ranked. Then they take on the Florida Gators, then the Florida State Seminoles, then the Louisville Cardinal. If Miami can run this gauntlet, the sky could be the limit. But how do we see South Florida and Miami this weekend?
Yeah, well, this is perception reality, and this is turning out to be a big pros versus the Joes game as well, because the public is looking at this game and going, wait a minute. Why are we not giving South Florida any credit here? I mean, they were a 5.5-point home dog against a top 25 team. Boise State won that one. And then they were an 18-point road underdog in Gainesville in the swamp against. They won that one. And now we're going to give them 16, 17 points here with this is absurd. Give me again. No. Their luck the good team much improved. But they are not coming to the Hard Rock here and beating Miami as a 17-point underdog like they did Florida. Yeah, it's tough to wrap your head around a team that's been this competitive, Donnie. But this is where you start zigging and zagging, where everyone going left, you need to go right in this game.
Carson Beck and the boys ready to play, 4:30 p.m. How about Texas A&M and Notre Dame? The luck of the Irish. They've been off for a couple weeks. They're 6.5-point favorites over A&M, Joe.
Yeah, A&M, this has got to make a break for them, too. Not exactly been all that impressive here, but we have seen some Notre Dame money here. It is in Notre Dame. Very tough place to play. Unfortunately for A&M, I do think Notre Dame has enough to be able to get it done in this one.
Who's the AD? Is it still Swarbrick? I don't even know who it is for Notre Dame, but somebody needs to build that guy a statue outside the facility because he put together the dream schedule of all dream schedules for Marcus Freeman at this point. Maybe they win, maybe they lose. Heck, Notre Dame probably have 6 losses this year, make it into the college football playoff. It's just the way it is. Hour number 2 next. The energy stays high.